Hello guys and welcome back to a new tutorial. This time, we will make an interior living space with a small kitchen corner and a dining table. This will be an easy to follow tutorial, with simple modeling, and some tips along the way. So let's start with it. We will start with this simple interior plan, a CAD file, and the idea is to put a sofa set on the left wall. A small kitchen in this corner, and a dinner table between them. We do need to save this file in DXF format, so open the save window, and choose the DXF 2007. Both the CAD and the DXF files are in the links down below. Now, inside Blender, select all and hit X to delete those objects. We first need to open the add-ons settings and make sure importing DXF files are enabled. After that, we can close the preferences and go to File, Import, and select DXF. Navigate to where you saved the file and open it. And here it is. If it's not showing in the viewport, just select it from the layers area and hit the number pad to zoom in. Now as you see, it's quite big, so we need to scale it. By looking at the door dimensions, it's 100 times bigger, so we need to scale it by 0.01 and it should be good to work on. I will change the units to centimeters just because it's easier to work with in a small space. Then I will hit A to select all, hit S to scale it by 0.01. We can now check the wall dimension to make sure it's 15, so enable the snap from the top and use the measuring tool to do that. And 15 it is. Before we start modeling, make sure to keep everything organized. The layers section can help you a lot. So for me, I will drop the drawing in this collection, change its name, and make it unselectable so we don't move it while working. And don't worry, the snap will still work on it. Now we can add a new collection and name it modeling. We will start with the walls. Press Shift A to add any mesh you see fit. I will go with the plane. In the Dimensions menu, we can make it 15 by 15 to match the drawing. Put the snap tool on vertices and snap the plane to any corner. Now we can enter edit mode from here or by hitting the tab key, and select those top or right vertices to start extending them over the walls. So with those two vertices on the right, we can hit E to extrude them, hit X or Y for the right axis, and extend them until they snap to the next corner. On this wall, we have a window. What I do is hitting Shift D to copy the selected vertices and snap them to the top window's corner. After that we can extrude them again and again on the right axis until we cover the walls on the drawing. Once we are done with that, we can select all the faces, and hit E to extrude them up by 220, which is the door's top level. Then we can extrude them again by 80 to a height of 3 meters. Now to close the walls over the doors, we can select those opposite faces and with the right mouse button, hit Bridge Faces. Once we done with that, we need to add the ceiling. I will hide the walls from the eye icon, and hit Shift A to add a new plane, move it inside the drawing. For this one, let us name it first. In edit mode, I will keep only one vertex and delete the remaining 3. So hit X and delete those 3 vertices, then snap this one to any corner inside the walls. We will extend it on the inner line, so hit E to extrude it and snap it to the next corner, and repeat the process till you're done. Here on this corner, we have 2 vertices which mean the line is not connected. To weld them, select the area and with the right mouse button or the shortcut M, hit Merge Vertices by Distance. A bottom message should tell you how many are deleted, and in our case it should delete 1, so we're good to go. To make those vertices a surface, we will hit A to select them all, and hit F to fill the space between them. I will also give it a thickness of 10 and move it up to the wall's top level. And that's for the top ceiling. We do need a copy of this to work as a bottom ceiling for the hidden lights, curtains and other wire connections, so hit Shift D to copy it. Change the thickness to 5, and put it on a height of 270. For the floor, as we did before, I will hide both the wall and the ceiling, then add a new plane, and again keep only one vertex. We will go on the inner line as we did with the ceiling, but this time, on the doors area, we need to extend the floor under it, so just make a turn here and snap it to the outer line, then we can continue on the inner one. I did here select all vertices and merge them by distance to delete the extra one on this corner. After that, hit A then F to select all and fill the surface, and that's the basic of it. Once you're done with those walls, floor and ceilings, we can make a new collections for cams and lights. So with Shift A, add a camera to the scene, use the shortcut Ctrl Alt and number 0 to place it on your view. We can from here move it up a bit and slide it forward inside the room. In the camera settings, make the focal length on 28. We will fix it later and make it show more from the room, but for now we will leave it like this. To add world light to this scene, I will switch to Cycles Render Engine and put it on GPU. Make the viewport samples 20 to keep the workflow smooth. I did save the file by this point and make the render region inside the camera frame only, then by holding Z we can switch to render view. Now, to add a sky, we can go to the world light section, and in the color input, select an environment texture. It will turn pink without a map, so open it and select the sky map, which you can download from the links down below. Here in the Shadings edit, we can add a mapping node and tweak it a bit to align the sky with the room. In my case, I made it 10 on the Z location for the sky to appear. To add a floor material, I will isolate the floor and use the kit library to search for a wood flooring. The library is an add-on which you can turn on the same way we did with the DXF1. So there are many options to use. Double-click on any of them and you will add it to the floor. Now because it's a texture we need to unwrap it. In edit mode, select all and hit U to choose the first UV unwrapping method, then go to the UV edit. Hit A to select all and scale it to fit. Switch to render view to see how it looks. I think it looks fine, and again you can always experiment with other options, whether it's wood, marble or any other flooring you like. Once we're done with the floor, we need to cover the doors by importing their models. To do that, add new collection. And from the File tab, go to Append and select the door file to close the right wall. Select the Collection tab, then choose the collection inside, and here it is. Switch to Material Preview to see how it looks. I did fix the material on every model and we will change some of them before the final render. So rotate it to face the right direction, move it to the top corner as shown and snap it there. I will also change the center point on this door to the same top corner. We do that by putting the cursor there and from the object menu, hit Set Origin to 3D Cursor. After that we can scale it around and stretch it a bit to close the wall. Once we're done with the first door, we can use the append again to add the second one, so select it as before, and use the same method to place it in the right area to close the left wall. Switch to render view to see how it looks. Split the work area, we will leave the left side for render view, and work on the right one. I will hide the top ceiling to show the bottom one. As we said earlier, this bottom ceiling will have the hidden lights, so let us fix it. From the top view, go into edit mode and put it on vertices selection. Then with the wireframe view we can move those vertices to inside in some areas, so I will select those two and move them to inside by 8, and same with those two vertices, select them and move them by 8, again here the same process with the same distance. On the window wall we will move them by 12, this wall can contain curtains so the distance must be bigger, those opening we made in the ceiling will cast light over the walls once we add them. For the lights, hit Shift A to add an area light, move it to the top wall, and scale it to 58 cm area on the ceiling. From the front view, move the light up over the bottom ceiling. In the light settings, make the power 8 so we can test how it looks, and for the light color, I will use the light node, and with the help of a black body, we can assign the light color by temperature. If you're new to black body objects, watch this short tutorial on it, the link should pops up from the top right corner, so I end up with 3800 temperature for a warm light color. We can now switch to render view to see how it looks. I will bring it down to 6 for the power value, and copy this light over the remaining areas. Once you're done with the area lights, add a new collection for the spot. We will import the model using the same append process. Once the spot model in the scene, isolate it along with the bottom ceiling. The spot material are already fixed and don't need a boolean to cut the ceiling, so it's just moving and placing it in the right area. Using Shift D we can make 4 copies over the sofa, which we will add later, and from the front view, make sure it's on the ceiling height. I will render this small area just to make sure it looks fine and visible. Now we can select those 4 spots and copy them to the middle of the room. You can also add a third set of spots if you're taking the shot from the kitchen area, so I will leave that to you. The second set will be more visible if you take a long shot to show the ceiling, but we will stay on the default resolution. The kitchen area needs some spots also, so copy those to the area needed. 4 of them should be enough over the kitchen corner. The area over the dinner table will have a ceiling lamp, which we will import later with the kitchen models. Again, once we're done with the spots, add a new collection for the new models, and try to keep your work organized. Using the same append process, we can import the next file which contain the kitchen models. I will place the fridge first so that we can model the cabinet. Move it to this corner and scale it to fit. Make sure it ends with the Windows corner. What I will do now is isolate the walls, the floor and the fridge, to make the kitchen cabinet. Press Shift A to add a cube, press N to open the side menu and change its dimensions. The counter height will be around 110, and it should be separated from the cabinet doors, so I will make the cabinet's height 105 for now, and fix the X and Y to make it around 60. Using the snap we can align it with the fridge. The bottom cabinet should be deeper than the fridge, so make it around 70 or 80. Use the face selection in edit mode to move this front face until it seems fit. I will also select this left face and extend it to the corner. Now we can hit Ctrl R to add a cut on this cube, and extend the left side along the wall. Move it back a bit just because perfection is not realistic. We can now copy this shape and scale the height down to make it as a counter over the cabinets. We will also need a bottom one under the cabinet, and for that, I will change the height here to 100, and the top and bottom parts will be 5 each, so the counter stays at a height of 110. We can now select those 3 objects and copy them. This will be the upper cabinet and will extend over the fridge. I will make the height 60 for the middle shape, and snap the other to it. Move it down to the fridge's top level. In edit mode, select those faces and extrude them to the wall. Now the top cabinet is a bit deep, and we should move it to the fridge's level or less than that. So while in edit mode, select those vertices and move them back toward the wall by 10, and do the same thing again on the left wall's cabinet. We can now start adding some details to the bottom ones. With Ctrl R, we can add a cut on this area, and hit Ctrl B to split this edge or bevel it. Now the area between those edges are selected, and we can push those faces to inside with the extrude along normal option, just to make it look like 2-door cabinet. After that, select those 2 faces and hit I to inset them by 15. Then extrude them to inside by 2. For the handles, put the cursor in this area and hit Shift A to add a cylinder. We will use it to shape a basic handle for the cabinet door. Scale it down to fit, and rotate it by 90 as shown. Use the spin tool for the corners. So from the side ortho view, select the outer face, put the cursor under it or above it depending on the direction you're spinning to. Select the spin tool and in the side menu, choose the right axis, in my case it's the Y, and just spin. Hold Ctrl for accurate 90 degree, and that's it. We can now extrude this face to bottom a bit, change the cursor position to match the next spin, and spin it again by 90, then close the handle with the cabinet door. We can scale it down to fit, and copy it around on each door or drawer we have. On this face, we can hit Ctrl R to add a cut, and use the mouse wheel to increase the number of cuts. We will make this section for the drawers, so select the faces and hit I to inset them by 5, then extrude them to inside a bit. Another inset to shape the drawers, then push them out a bit. You can make a different handles here, or just copy the one we made. In the top cabinet, we will do the same inset and extrude process to shape the doors, and copy the handles if needed. On this part over the fridge, we can do something different using the same inset and extrude commands. I didn't spend much time on it since it's far from the camera, but you can have a cabinet blueprints as a reference for accurate modeling. Once we're done with the kitchen modeling, we can copy the metal material from the fridge and give it to this handle. With the right mouse button hit Shade Smooth. After that, select the remaining ones, shade smooth them, then select the one with the metal material, and hit Ctrl L to link the material to all selection. For the cabinets, we will give it the wooden door material. Once you add it, change the material number from here, this way we change the cabinet color without affecting the door. In the shading edit, add a gamma node after the texture and make it on 0.7 value. Then in the UV edit, we can select all faces, and UV unwrap it with cube projection. Rotate the texture by 90, and scale it to fit. This top part is too close to the ceiling, so I will delete it. For this bottom part on the upper cabinet, add a new material and just make the roughness 0.4. This part on the floor will take the same material we add last, so link it with Ctrl L. We also need to add a bevel modifier to all the modeling we made in the kitchen, and you might need to tweak it a bit in each shape depending on the size. So add the bevel to one of the cabinets and link the modifier to the remaining parts, then change the amount value in each one until it seems fit. Back to the models, we can select them one by one and place them on the counter or inside the cabinets. To cut the area inside the sink, select it and move the cursor to selection, then add a new cube and scale it to fit the sink. To show the sink we need to add a Boolean modifier on both the counter and the bottom cabinet. I will apply the bevel first, then add the Boolean. Now with this pen icon, we can select the cube we added to cut the sink area, again in the cabinet, add a Boolean and select the cube in it. Apply the Boolean on both objects and delete the cube once you're done. The rest of the model's placing are just moving and scaling, so I will comment once it needed. In this wall model, we can change the white material to emission light, and give it a strength of 5. We can also add a light to the fridge screen. We do that in the shading edit, by deleting the BSDF and replace it with emission light node, then connect the texture to it. Add a mix RGB node after the texture and change the color to anything you like. In this lamp model, we can change the white material to emission light, and give it a strength of 6. Move it over the dinner table area. I will make the lamp wire shorter in edit mode, and make sure it connect with the ceiling. Again here, add a new collection for the table model, and use the append process to import it. Once we're done with the table, let us expand the camera view. I will move the camera back outside the walls, and use the clip start value to cut the walls from the view. We still need a material for the counter, so copy the marble from the table to it. I did use the cube projection first to unwrap it, but the height need a bit work, so my go-to option here is the Smart UV for easy fix, and again in the UV edit, we can scale it to fit. Let us add the final set of models, the sofa set. Once I brought it to the scene, I moved it to the right area. I will try to place everything around the sofa and move them all together inside the room. For those chairs, I will change the materials to match the ones in the dining tables. At this point, I think we are done. You can keep the sample at 128 and do a test render, change it later to 800 for a final one. Make sure to enable the denoising and use optics for NVIDIA cards. Adaptive sampling will help the render focus on the detailed areas and go fast on the empty ones like this wall. For the caustics, I will leave it on just because we have many glass objects. I use the auto tile for my render bucket size, so it should be like this for GPU renders. I did fix my final render in Photoshop Camera Raw filters and we did make a short video on that, so if you need to learn more about that, you should find it on the end. And that's all guys, stay sharp, goodbye.